Welcome to our 2025 annual meeting. It is great to see so many people show up. Thank you again to the Boy Scouts, and thanks for being here and enjoying the breakfast and already enjoying one another's company, which is one of the things today is all about. One of the things we always like to ask is how many first-timers do we have here? Please stand up, if you would. Wow, look at that. Welcome. We are glad you're here, and to those of you who aren't first-timers, please remember what it was like your first time. It's a little intimidating to walk into a room full of people like this and not know anybody. So please make it a point, particularly it's easy. We make it easy with the yellow name tags. If you see somebody with a yellow name tag, stick your hand out, introduce yourself, and make them feel welcome. Okay, well, we have an action-packed morning ready for you this morning. Let me go through the agenda very quickly. This meeting should be short. I've only got about an hour's worth of comments, and then we'll move on from there. Why did everybody laugh when I said that? We've got we're going to have Dallas bring you up to speed on the latest on this beautiful facility that we now have, and we've got a formal ribbon cutting to formally dedicate our new space, which we're excited about. Erika's got a very special scholarship announcement and presentation that she's going to give. And we've got a surprise or two along the way. And raffles through the last 2 hours of the morning. We're going to have raffles every 15 minutes. So, but the most important part is what we call the roam around, which is going to start once this meeting is over. And that is more of what you already started, some of you already started to do, is to visit these different stations around the room. The whole idea of today's meeting, first of all, let's back up and talk about, everybody says, well, how come you're calling it an annual meeting? Isn't it an eye-opener? Well, yeah, it is. Our eye-opener schedule all year long has been the last Saturday of every month through October. The reason we don't do one in November and December is because in November it would fall right in the middle of Thanksgiving weekend, and in December it falls right between Christmas and New Year's. So instead we've gone to a format of combining the two and having one meeting in early December. Same exact process for next year. So plan on coming back. The next time we'll see you all together is the last Saturday in January, and then so on through the year. The annual meeting, the reason we call it an annual meeting is it's required by our bylaws to have an annual meeting once a year, even though we have meetings all year long. But this is one formally required if for no other reason other than to have the election. So this is your chance to elect a new board of directors. If you want a new one, well, so be it. We'll find out here shortly. But anyway, so that's coming up. But after the meeting is over, the reason we really wanted to, it's been a great year, okay? It really has. And we wanted to celebrate it, and we thought no better way to do it than to make sure that all of our members know what all the benefits of being a member of the San Diego Fine Woodworkers Association is. Because I don't think everybody does, and I think some of you have found that out already just this morning. So we invited all of our SIGs, our special interest groups, to be here this morning to man a table, to give a demonstration and to provide you the opportunity to talk directly with the head of each special interest group to find out what they're all about, what they do, why you should become a member of that group. And so my challenge to you this morning is to make sure that you visit all 6 or 7 of the SIGs that are here this morning. Find out what they're all about and see if one doesn't grab your attention as something that you might like to spend more time at. Because they would love to have you as new members, I can tell you. So at the end of this meeting, starting approximately 9:45, 10 o'clock, we'll turn you loose, and you'll have the opportunity to visit with the luthiers who can show you how to build an acoustic guitar. Rob Sandstrom and his epoxy group and shows you how to blend epoxy into your woodworking projects. We've got the Turters out in the far corner of the next section of the building. They're going to be demonstrating how to turn both a spindle and a bowl. Travis Good is with us this morning, and he's going to demonstrate or continue to demonstrate the use of the Shaper Origin, which if you haven't seen that, that is really quite the tool, and he'll show you what it's all about and what it can do. Dr. Duffy is with us. He's going to do demonstrations, as I understand it, on the CNC machine right around the other side of this wall. And in the bench room, we've got the carvers who are going to demonstrate carving techniques, and we've got the hand tool SIG showing use of different hand tools, including how to properly tune and sharpen a plane and what it's like to feel a properly tuned and sharpened plane running through a piece of wood. I'm going to give you your chance to do that yourself and see what that's all about. You've got to go upstairs at some point during the morning. Upstairs, they're going to be demonstrating not only the laser, which if you haven't experienced the laser, you're missing out. I fought tooth and nail against that laser when we started, and now it's my favorite tool. So you really need to treat yourself to judging for yourself and go up and see what it's all about. They'll also be demonstrating the 3D printer and sublimation printing, which some of you probably haven't even heard of, let alone seen. And so all of that is available to you upstairs. So there's lots to see, lots to experience, and that's just the special interest groups. But we also wanted you to have a firsthand opportunity to meet all of the key members of our leadership team and the different functions that keep this place running. So we've got a membership table, we've got a volunteer table, we've got a sponsorship table, the one that is not signed, but Rosie is hanging out over there, and she's worth the trip, I can tell you. She is a hoot. Back here, Toby and Scott and their gang are running the safety table. Very important to always keep safety in mind. They're going to show you some easy tips, and I think they're also passing out free earplugs, right? Who can pass up free earplugs? Okay. And then education, Nels is back there with all of the information, everything you wanted to know about classes and anything else about if you always wanted to teach, he would love to talk to you. If you always wanted to be a TA, you think you might want to try it out and see if you eventually you want to teach, he'd be more than happy to spend some time chatting with you. Joe and Jim are here from Design and Wood, and they've got a table back in the corner. Hard to believe, but that baby is already coming toward us like a freight train. It's only about 6 months away. So they're anxious to talk to you and find out what your plans are for making an entry this year and answering any questions for you. And then we got our toy group here as well. A lot of ground to cover. And we hope you find it interesting. I can't imagine anybody being able to walk out of here and saying, well, I wish I would have been able to find out about this, because this is your chance. You should be able to find answers to any question you could possibly have about what's going on in your association. So that's the plan. We gave you, if you have not yet registered at the registration table, that's the first stop, because they will give you a raffle ticket, and we're going to have raffles throughout the second 2 hours of the morning. And then they will also give you a card, I call it a passport, but it's a little card that you can get stamps on. Every time you visit one of the tables, they have a little stamp. They're going to stamp your passport for you. If you get at least 8 stamps on your passport, then you can come back and turn it in at the registration desk, and it will be... You moved it on me. Well, I tell you what. She's always trying to throw me off balance, and she always succeeds. Anyway, that goes in that basket, and that's going to be the drawing for our grand prize at the end of the period. You won't have to be $2,500. It's a lot, okay? So anyway, that's the plan. And we'll try to wrap everything up around noon. Okay, before we get to all the fun, I've got some responsibilities, one of which is to let you know what's going on in your association. As I mentioned, it has been quite a year. I believe it's the most active year and most eventful was the word I was reaching for. Some of you can identify it's getting harder and harder to pull. Those words are up there. They don't come out as fast as they used to. It's been the most eventful year that I know of with the San Diego Fine Woodworkers Association, and probably the most eventful one in our history. And it's been pretty exciting, and so we've got lots to talk about. I'm going to go through some of the highlights as quickly as I can. But it's important that you know that all of this stuff doesn't just happen and that there's a whole lot of other stuff happening that you're probably not aware of and we want to make you aware of. You've had a board of directors driving the whole thing, and my thanks to that board of directors that you're going to meet in a minute for all of the work they've done and the support they've given me. But we've had, at the beginning of the year, we sat down in January and developed a list of goals that we thought were important to the association. And when we finished the list, we looked at it and realized it was a pretty aggressive list. So we formed 4 different work groups to help us get the actual work of making those goals realities done. We called them teams. We had a steering team that was headed up by Ron Lacey, who was our vice president at the time. We had an events team which was headed up by Bernie Burke. We have a membership team, which at the time was headed up by Erika Cheswick, and now she has turned that over to Diana Ram, who is over here in the corner. And then we had a communications team, which it took us a while to find a leader, but we now have one. His name is Dan T. Dan, are you here this morning? I haven't seen Dan yet. He's not here yet. He's got a brand new baby at home. I can't imagine why he would miss an event like this. But anyway, the point is all of those teams were designed to help us achieve all of the goals that we set for ourselves. And also to pull in more of our membership into the decision-making and planning process. And that idea has caught on, and it's beginning to pick up more and more momentum as time goes on. And it's, as a result, been one of the reasons that we've been able to accomplish so much. We zeroed in on a number of issues. We wanted to have a budget. An organization our size, to not have a budget just doesn't make any sense. We now have one. We did achieve that. And it is important not only to our fiscal responsibility, but to use as a management tool. And our leadership team is getting more and more comfortable as time goes on with using that for that reason. We spent time on developing a succession planning plan. Succession planning is something that every large organization that's successful does. It's to ensure that when one of our key leaders moves on or leaves for some reason, that we have somebody there to back them up and take over and keep things going just as they should be. And not be in the predicament that we have so often found ourselves in the past of, it's time to have elections and nobody wants to run. So now we've got every member of our leadership team, one of their responsibilities is to find, recruit, and develop somebody to take their place so that when people move on, first of all, they don't have to feel guilty for moving on because they don't have a replacement. We should have a very smooth transition. So that's an important process that we have now put into place. One thing I promised you was to fix the website. Sure glad you're here, Isaac. We have gone through a number of people, frankly, trying to fix that website. And all of them agreed that it was a mess. And all of them did their best to help straighten it out, and each made some progress. And now we've got Isaac in charge of the website. And Isaac, stand up so everybody can see who you are, so they know who to go to. And he's doing a great job, and we'll be happy to talk with you and answer any questions that you might have of him during the roam around, but hopefully you've seen some positive changes in the website. They're really starting to fall into place, and I have every expectation that soon we're going to have a much more professional, I think we already have a much more professional looking website, and it should be smooth and running. And we are going to have a members only section, by the way. Your membership number on this is important, your membership number on your new membership card that you should receive shortly after the first of the year, if not before, will be your passcode to get into the members-only section, okay? So you're going to need that if you want to get into where all the good stuff is stored. We spent a lot of time, and one of our biggest points of focus was to try to bring the entire organization, the SDFWA, together. We've got a very successful shop operation. We've obviously, for 42 years now, had a wonderful design and wood function. And then we got a lot of other things going on, but they were all kind of like satellites out there, just kind of circling in their own orbit. And there's a lot of synergy, a lot of efficiency to be had by bringing everybody together and having a strong tie between everybody involved so we can help each other make each one of those functions even stronger. So we've gone to work on that. It's one of those things you just can't legislate and make happen overnight. But I think by putting a lot of emphasis on it, talking it up, discussing with all of the key leaders and people in charge that are involved, we've made a lot of progress. Today is one of those examples. We want everybody to see what being a member of the San Diego Fine Woodworkers Association is all about and all of the benefits that accrue to you if you become one. Long-term planning is as important now as it ever has been. We continue to plan. Everybody's looking at me like, Jesus, this just happened. You're planning some more? Yeah, we are. We have been since the day we opened, by the way. We talk about it a lot. We dream a lot, but we also plan a lot. And one of the reasons this was able to be done, the vodka or gin? Thank you, Paul. This Santa Ana thing has taken a toll on my voice for some reason. And I know you'll all be crushed if I can't talk all of a sudden, so I'll keep drinking. Anyway, long-term planning is something that's very important to us. It is the key role of the steering committee along with some other things. And Erika has stepped right in where Ron Lacey left off and has taken the reins on that. The next step, frankly, is our own place. That'll take some doing, it'll take some time, and it'll take a lot of money. So it's a ways down the road, but you don't get there unless you start planning it. So that's something that the board and our steering committee in particular spend a lot of time on. Community involvement is a new thing that we have started to put some emphasis on. We used to do more community involvement than we have recently. We haven't had the people to do a lot of community involvement projects that we would otherwise like to, but we're now at a point where we can begin to do that. Plus, we found a guy, Matt Smith. Where are you? He's gone. Boy, chicken. He's a young Navy officer. He was here earlier this morning. He is the guy that's heading up the train project. If you haven't heard, we're refurbishing the interior of the locomotive in the La Mesa train that sits in the center of town. As one of our community involvement projects, he's done a marvelous job with that. And when I announced that we'd like to have a permanent community involvement director position so that we can do a lot of those types of projects, he stepped up and volunteered to do that. And he's going to be great because he's been great about this, real committed young man. And so be looking forward to getting more involved in the community in a variety of different ways as we move forward. And once you get to know who he is, you're welcome to start feeding him ideas on community involvement projects that you might think that we should be taking a look at. One of the things that, of course, was the highlight of the year was our Design and Wood Show. And this year's was just outstanding. I think everybody would agree. And Jim and Joe, I'd like you both to stand up and take a bow because it really was special. Thank you so much for all that you did. This was really only your first full year, right? You had kind of like a year and a half or 2 years, but they've really got their feet planted and know what they're doing, and it's been great. They've got even bigger plans moving forward. They have, again, their own table over there. Please stop, and if nothing else, pat them on the back for a job well done. But let them know if you have any questions about design and wood, and they're going to turn around and ask you what you're going to build to enter into design and wood. So that ought to be an interesting discussion. Dan T., it's unfortunate he's not here. The community the communications director position that he now fills is a brand new position. The idea of that position is to have one person at the center of the wheel, if you will, the hub, that handles all of our and coordinates all of our communications vehicles. So we've got our newsletters going out, we've got the website that communicates information, we've got our education blast going out, and a variety of other things. And they don't always sync, they don't always match as it relates to dates and times and all of that. So we now have one person that's responsible for making sure that everything is current, but also that all of those vehicles are working in sync with each other. So Dan T is going to have that responsibility. The important piece of that as it relates to you and me is I now have one person I can go to and say, Dan, problem, fix it. And he knows who to go to and how to get it fixed. You have one person you can go to if you see a problem and want to communicate it to somebody and you aren't sure exactly who you should call. Dan T is the guy. So we will make sure that you have his contact information, but it's going to be a big step forward for us. Volunteerism, Steve Peterson. There he is. Look right over him. Stand up, Steve, so everybody knows he's our new director of volunteerism. Steve? If you are not yet involved in some capacity of volunteering to help us run this place, shame on you. But the good news is we can fix that, right? Today, right? So Steve is going to be right over here during the roam around. Please stop and say hello and meet him and get to know him. Amongst the other things that he's got to offer is he has a full list of all of our current open positions for volunteering. We need your help. We've got a great group of volunteers. It keeps growing. It keeps getting better and better, but we keep growing and the demand just keeps building. So please spend some time thinking about that and at least go over and introduce yourself to Steve so when the time comes that you are moved to do something, that you know who to go talk to. We had some disappointments during the year. Gary Correa, our financial director for the shop for many years, decided it was time to step back and spend some time with his family. What can I say? Mixed priorities? I don't know. Anyway, he did a great job for us for a good many years, and we really appreciate all of his efforts. And he is succeeded by Phil Ryan, who is, I know he's here. There he is, right there. And he, together with Pete Sterling, our treasurer, everybody stand up because I'm sure nobody knows who you are keeping the books. And then Dallas and I and several other people keep an eye on them, keeping an eye on the books. But I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the financials today, but I do want to tell you that financially we are very strong. We've got great cash reserves. And there's nothing for you to worry about financially. That doesn't mean we need to stop worrying about continuing to drive our revenue and continuing to build those cash reserves, because if we're ever going to move into our own place, we've got to have a lot more money than we've got now. So anyway, if any of you are worried or curious about our financial situation, it's no secret. You're certainly all entitled to see our financials at any point in time. All you have to do is contact Pete. The reason we don't just send them out to everybody is if you're not used to looking at detailed financial statements for a large organization, it's not going to make a lot of sense to you without somebody there to help you understand the pertinent points. So feel free to grab Pete. Feel free to grab Phil, and they will be happy. Pete, I think, has some sheets with some financial summaries on it and give you a taste of where we're at and how much money we've got and so forth. So if you're curious about that, have at it. Ron Lacey, I mentioned, was just doing a great job, and he was succession planning. He was my plan for getting out of this position and having him step up and take over at the first of next year. And everything was going swell, and he was doing swell. And then his wife decided it was time to move to Oregon. Now, I've always supported the concept of marriage. But that one made me rethink the whole situation. He was a great guy, and he sends his best. They're settled up there and happy, but he misses us, as he better. But it obviously left a huge hole, and I took a long look at all of the potential people that we could ask to fill that position, and we selected Erika Cheswick. Erika, wave your hand back there so everybody knows who you are. If you've not met her yet, you soon will, because she's like an all-being presence everywhere in the shop. She's not only very good at what she does and very successful in her own right professionally, but she loves trying new things in the shop, and she's always trying something new. So if you haven't seen her cross your path yet, you soon will. And she has already become a great vice president and going to continue to help us move the organization forward in the future. Diana Ram, did I mention you already? Well, you deserve 2 mentions, even if I did. She is the lady that Erika selected to succeed her as head of the membership team. And it's because she was part of the membership team, and it's also because she's a very, very sharp lady, very personable lady. You're going to thoroughly enjoy getting to know her, and she's going to be perfect for moving our membership team forward. And between the groundwork that Erika had already laid and the plans that she and her committee already have, you're going to see a number of different changes to our membership program in the future. And they're all going to be positive. So Diana, stand up so everybody can see exactly who you are. And thank you again for taking that on. Scott Sipkins decided to take a step back and enjoy life a little bit more. He's still involved. But we have a new education director, and that is Nels Lundgren, who is a great choice. Scott did an incredible job of leading the development of our education team. It's a huge team if you're not aware of it. And Nels has stepped in without missing a beat and kept the momentum going. And Nels, we really appreciate all that you and your team do. So please, again, make it a point to stop by and say hello to Nels during the roam around. We've started a number of initiatives to build the value of your SDFWA membership. One of the things I've always wanted to do is to expand our sponsorship program, because I knew there was all kinds of potential there. And it's one of those things on my long list of things to do that I never got to. And then Rosie showed up. Rosie Chang is a relatively new member. Shoosh, no, I'm not shoosh. And when you meet her, you're going to understand why I picked her, because she's got personality plus. She's the perfect person to help drive our sponsorship program. The reason we have her with her own table over there is she's going to show you what she's already accomplished in a very short period of time as far as bringing new sponsors in and what she has planned for the future. And if you've got ideas on additional sponsors that you can think of that we should be approaching, she would be more than delighted to hear from you. One of the things that you're going to hear from her is that Saw Winery is one of our new sponsors. A lot of you have seen their commercial on Facebook with the looks like a little hand plane that's designed to scrape glue off of your glue-ups. We've got several up here that we're going to give away during the raffle, and she's going to tell you how you can buy their products at a discount, because they are now a sponsor as a result of her efforts. So, Rosie, thank you, and we will continue to expect great things from you. There's another lady that I want to recognize. A lot of you know Jean Eichenlob. Jean, there's Jean over against the wall over there. I don't know if you've noticed, but those chairs you're sitting in are pretty darn comfortable. And Dallas was insistent that we buy good chairs, comfortable chairs for this new space, but they cost a lot of money. Right up until she stepped up and bought them for us. The other reason, though, I wanted to introduce her to you is she's another one of these women that just does so many things for us. One of the things she does is she leads our shop tour program. And if you're not familiar with our shop tours, we like to get out every couple of months and visit a member's shop, and in the absence of a member's shop, a commercial shop in the area that has something to do with woodworking, just as an opportunity for you to get out, have some coffee and donuts on a Saturday morning, and see how other people do things. So she's been running that, and she's done a great job. We've had some tremendous shop tours this past year, the latest one being Taylor Guitars. Those of you that were on that would probably agree with me that I think that's the best one I've been on yet. And it's so popular that she has arranged for a repeat, right, in April? 2 tours in April. Oh, okay. All right. And the other thing that where I was headed with all of this is it's difficult for her to find new shops to go to. So if you have a shop and would allow us to come visit you on a Saturday morning, it's not this group, okay? It's a much smaller group, so don't panic. It's a manageable size group, but it's a fun group. And we enjoy, again, just getting together very informally and seeing what you're doing in your shop, hearing how you solve different problems or use different tools or organize your shop in a different way. But the point is we can't expect her to always be able to go out and find those shops by herself. So she really needs some suggestions from this group as to what we might want to consider, and particularly if you want to volunteer your shop, or if you know of another guy down the street that you would like to volunteer. Well, that's appropriate too, and she will follow up, and we'll see if we can put that together. So, Jean, thank you for all of that. The other thing, of course, that's important to recognize, and I see he snuck in late in the back there, is a week or two ago, we had a pretty exciting event in this place, and it was our 8th annual holiday gift sale. How many of you went to the holiday gift sale? There we go. It was 8 years ago when we did our first one, we sold $8,000 worth of stuff. And we were tickled pink, by the way. This year we sold $80,000. So 10 times in 8 years is pretty good growth. And the guy that's getting snow plowed out into the is Alan, who headed up our event. And stay there. And then Jen, where is Jen? I saw her. There's Jen. Stand up. Stand up. Teddy Shaw handled our marketing and did an extraordinary job this year. Teddy, where are you? Teddy, stand up. Keep standing. And there's a whole lot of other key people, but I'm going to stop there and ask that any of you that I didn't mention that were involved in the production, but also anybody that made at least one item and donated it to the holiday gift sale, stand up. Now, those of you that remain seated, we need to talk. That is our only fundraiser throughout the year, okay, for the association. So we need to get behind that, and I would ask you to make a New Year's resolution to turn in at least one item for next year's holiday gift sale, which we've already started planning for, right? So congratulations again, Al.
Come on in. Nah, don't be afraid of it. Get in here. Come on, Mike. You don't get to each cut a foot. Okay. Get up here. Upside down. Okay. Everybody, you each get 1 inch to cut. Okay. 1, 2, 3, go. There's a whole bunch of you that came a few times. I'd like everybody in the audience who's coming at one time or another and helped out to step up. Stand up, guys. There's a lot of the audience that have done that. Not only does that help keep our costs down, we get it built the way we want it. We built new relationships. Many of us have picked up new skills. We've had a lot of fun, worked hard, but we're really proud of what's been accomplished. I hope we all enjoy this for many years. And I can't thank this group enough. You're the core group that made it happen. Thank you.
Done? Oh, come on. He thinks he's done. He's not. I don't think I need to tell too many people in this room what a great guy is standing next to me. But what he did with this place is a new standard. I have never seen anybody work so hard, come up with so many great ideas, develop a plan that just boggles the mind as compared to what I envisioned and what a lot of people envisioned. And you're seeing this morning firsthand the genius behind the plan, because we now have the opportunity to use it in so many different ways, and we'll continue to be able to do that. Dallas, your leadership has been, there's just not enough superlatives to describe it, but I can tell you that nobody in this place knows how hard he has worked, because I don't, but I have an idea. I know what the minimum is, and I'm sure it's well beyond what I think it is. And Rick Van Hatten also deserves a lot of credit. But anyway, we just wanted to take a chance to formally thank you. He and I are both early risers, and so we get a lot of our communications done early in the morning. And he sent me a text early one morning and said, "You got time for a call?" I said, "Sure." So we talked for a while about 2, 3 different items. And I said, "Well, are you going into the shop today?" He said, "Well, I'm already here." It was 5:45. And I said, "What are you doing there at 5:45 in the morning?" He says, we need to get some bids from some of these contractors to do what we need to do, and they're just not available. So I finally talked him into coming in at 6 o'clock in the morning. And he also had another one that night at 6 p.m. So that'll give you the context of the kind of days that he and Rick and really this whole team put in to get everything done. So we really appreciate your leadership, all of the time and effort that you've put in. And we know that we also want you to thank Suzanne for sharing you with us. And appreciate her patience as well. So we wanted to give you a small token of our appreciation. This is a gift card for one of your favorite restaurants. And hope we can you and Suzanne can go out and enjoy a nice dinner and get to know each other again now that most of the work is finished.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
But that's not all. We kept referring to this place. I started, it's Suite D, just for the record, officially. And I somehow got mixed up and started calling it Suite C. And nobody really ever figured out a good thing to call it. It was Shop 4.0, a lot of different things. So we decided that we need a formal name. And so a number of us have been bandying this about, and we came up with the answer. Henceforth, it's going to be called the Keck Pavilion.
Wow. Wow. Well, yeah, I got to tell you caught me that time, Gary. It's truly been an honor, and it's something that we all enjoy. I love this group. I love the association, and the people that we work together with is just so special. I'm speechless, which is unusual. I truly appreciate the friendship and the things we've accomplished together, but thank you.
Okay, time for a very special presentation by our Vice President, Erika Cheswick.
So one of the new things that is coming up for next year is the Rosie Trone Memorial Scholarship. And we did do some information about this in the newsletter. I don't know if you all saw it, but it's in memory of Rosie Trone, who was in San Diego for about 50 years. And one of her greatest joys was woodworking. I believe it was the four things that were her biggest joy, not in any particular order. Her 9 nieces and nephews, Matt Evans, who's over there, a member of SDFWA, woodworking, and the Padres and the Gulls. But I'm sorry, because as I'm told, not a lot of people really knew her because she didn't really talk about herself. She was a kind, intelligent person who loved woodworking, and if you were around her, you got to know her, but she didn't like talking about herself. And with us today is Alice Trone, her sister. Alice, could you come up here? The Rosie Trone Scholarship is funded by the Trone family. It's Alice and her aunt. Please come up. And it is a scholarship for $250, 2 scholarships for $250 going to the our introduction to woodworking A class, and that is so that newer woodworkers, newer people to woodworking can really get to love the woodworking as much as she did. So we will be posting information about that soon, but I wanted to thank the Trone family for their contribution. And I also wanted to give Alice an opportunity to let us know a little bit about Rosie and what all of this meant to her and what the scholarship means to you. But this is it's a token to say thank you for your contribution.
Thank you, Erika. I also want to mention my brother Dan is here. The scholarship is also sponsored by Dan. You know, my love for my sister and talking about her is helping to offset my fear of public speaking, which I'm feeling very much right now. But Rosie, I understand, is not the only Rosie in this organization. She's the other Rosie. But my family is very pleased to hold the microphone. My family is very pleased to continue Rosie's name on something like this scholarship, because Rosie was great at a lot of things, but her passion was woodworking. So if we can continue that passion in the next generation of recipients of this scholarship, and maybe that person will be one of the secession people that Gary was talking about, that would be no greater way to honor Rosie. So the scholarship in Rosie's name is not just going to be this year, it's going to be every year. We're going to continue it because I love to have Rosie's name spoken in association with this organization. So thanks for the opportunity. Thank you, Erika, for managing this. She did an awesome job and thought of every detail. And I'm very pleased and honored that Rosie's name will be on this scholarship at this organization. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And then one last thing is when we're talking about legacy and giving back and our long-term goal of getting our own place, it's coming up the end of the year, and a lot of you have to make that, required minimum distribution from your IRAs. If you haven't done that yet, you can donate it. And it is a nonprofit. We're a 501c3, so that is also a tax break. So if you're thinking of what are you going to do with that RMD, please consider San Diego FWA. Thanks.
Thank you, Erika. Great job. Most of you know Travis Good. He's a past president, all-around good guy, and so talented and so familiar. He's probably the leading expert anywhere on makerspaces, so he brings a tremendous amount to the table as it relates to how he helps us. He is going to be your elections director, and so I'm going to turn the program over to him to conduct the election and then set the stage for the runaround. So, Travis, all yours.
So do you guys remember at the beginning of the hour when Gary started talking? That hour where Gary was talking? What exactly? One of the words he was struggling for in the beginning was the word active, in terms of how to describe this past year. I've only been a member for 8 years, but I can tell you, I am so proud of what this community has been able to pull off. And it's in very large part, because we have an attitude about giving. That is to say, giving of our time, giving of our expertise. Volunteerism is core to who we are. And you saw the vast number of people who've contributed to the initiatives and the leaders of those various initiatives. What I'm about to do is have an election for the next level up in all of that, which is the board of directors who are responsible for the governance of the SDFWA. So could I get the next slide? Wait a minute. Did I just see a bald spot? I don't like that perspective. About 6 weeks ago, there was an email that went out. It was part of one of our normal newsletters, and we had put together a roster of folks who were willing to step forward, and in most cases, it's again to serve us on the board. You've heard from most of these people today, and Lou Adzima, I suppose, is an exception. He's right over here. And then I'll be talking about Nancy in just a second, because that's the one change that we see on here. This is the roster that came out in the email. The only real change is the fact that instead of Nancy, we have Dallas. And judging from the standing ovation that I saw just a few minutes ago, I think everybody is probably quite supportive of the idea that he'd be added to the board. And I'd like to pause just a second to say it was when I was president in 2020 that Nancy joined the board. She has been on the board for 5 years, and that's just one of the many hats that she's worn. That she's stepping off is, could you stand up, please? Let's please give her a hand. That's a lot of service. Thank you very much. So we can do this quickly and easily. We can do this by acclamation. There is an opportunity if anybody here feels like they themselves would like to step up and take on one of these roles. This is a time when you can nominate yourself, but this is the roster that we put together back when we had to have it done by a certain time frame. We're going to go forward with just by acclamation. If it's just this list, we're going to say aye, hands raised, or nay, hands raised, and if it's obvious what the result is, then we will have been electing our board for 2026. Okay. Is there anybody in the audience who's a member that would like to perhaps present themselves for consideration in one of these roles? I see somebody over here shaking their head, no. Okay. Anybody? All right, let's go ahead and conduct this election. This is the roster of people who have been nominated to be your board for the San Diego Fine Woodworkers in 2026. All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye. All those opposed, say nay and raise your hand. Perfect. Okay. Thank you very much. You guys have just participated in the one requirement that we have so far as the board is concerned to elect a new board. So thank you very much. That's your board for next year. Thank you to all the people who are going to be on the board. Next slide. So I got back from Austin yesterday morning, and Gary calls me and he says, Travis, and you know what, a few weeks ago I asked you if you conduct the election. I said, sure, no problem. He says, well, I need you to do this and this and this too. And I'm kind of thinking that he did that slightly so that he could be thinking about these topics. Most of what I was now supposed to cover has been covered very nicely by Gary. But I'm here to reinforce a few things, okay? Just real briefly, we have been focusing to a great extent on what the association has been accomplishing this past year and how it's changing for the good. We're switching focus now to what the association can do for you as members, okay? These areas, it should say the Keck Pavilion, not the pavilion, but we couldn't put it into a slide before Gary announced it. The Keck Pavilion has a variety of functions here that you see around the wall. Some of them you won't see. Rosie back there in the corner with sponsorships does not have a sign. Please don't take offense, okay? But she's there in pink. If you want to know our sponsorships, go over there. Volunteers doesn't have anybody standing there yet, but there will be somebody there. Those are the kinds of things that you should be working towards seeing, along with 3 other locations. For those of you who don't know where these things are for some strange reason, on the other side of this wall is the machine room. That's where we'll have CNC and turning. And then in the bench room, we'll have hand tools and carving. And then upstairs in the Anderson suite, is where we have digital tools. We have 3D printing, we'll have dye sublimation, we'll have lasers. And in each of those instances, there's something special that I want to focus on in a minute, but I need you guys to stay motivated. So next slide, please. Gary told you about this, but I want to put some special insight on it. Every 15 minutes, first off, everybody have their raffle ticket? Okay, so raffle tickets are over here. You need your raffle ticket. That's only one of 2 things you'll need today. The second thing you'll need is this. This is what are we calling it? A passport, a punch card? Passport. You need a passport. That you can get up here. The raffle, the blue ticket, is what we'll be calling out every 15 minutes during the first hour and the second hour. The value of those gifts goes up in the second hour, okay? Stick around, loiter, talk to people, visit these desks and these benches. The second hour, it goes up to $75. You can see what it is along the wall over here that will be available, okay? So stop by, tempt yourself, wish for good luck. And here's the thing, these cards right here are where this is like the golden ticket. If you get at least 8 stamps, and each of these stations will give you a stamp, if you pay attention and express a little bit of interest, they'll give you a stamp, and then you will end up taking it when you have 8 or more to Rosie in the corner over there. Use that red basket on the seat there as your beacon. Okay, that's the beacon you seek out. She will then give you another ticket, a white ticket, which at noon will be used to give away the 500, yes, I'm sorry, Rosie, yes, $500 basket of goods. So the tickets, this one must be in by 11:50, right, Rosie? Okay. And if you don't pay attention when your number is called, then you lose out. If you do have your number called and you do win, Rosie, they can actually just put it back in if they want to go to the next level up, right? Thank you, Vanna. Okay, so that's what we will need to be doing, but I wanted to add special emphasis to this last slide. It looks very similar to, next slide, please. It looks very similar to the first slide, but I wanted to point out a couple of things. One is that there are a lot of SIGs here. Now, you've probably heard SIG. Oftentimes people say, what the heck is that? Special interest group. And, you know, we're an association of people who love woodworking. But my gosh, what you can do in woodworking is just vast. It's made up of a lot of special techniques or projects or themes. And when you can get a special interest, that is to say, a group of people together who share a passion, then it's really great. And so we have a bunch of those. We'd love to have more. We'd love to connect you with more of them. So as you go to the SIG tables, you'll see examples of the tools they use. You'll see projects that they've completed. You'll hear about when they get together, what they do at their meetings. We'd love for you to find a niche that you're particularly interested in. And you see, we have quite a variety here. And again, we'd love to have more. So that is probably, from my perspective, in addition to learning about all the things the association can do for you, we have special interest groups. So please take the effort to get familiar with the ones that sort of tickle your fancy. And don't forget, it goes all the way up into the Anderson suite. Fill the space, walk around, see what's available. In any case, are there any questions about how the raffle works or what we're out to do between now and noon? This is as quiet as asking for volunteers for the board. I don't understand. There was a question back there. Yes? So the card is right over here, where the hands are waving, okay? Any other questions? Gary, when does the board meet?
The question is, when does the board meet? The board meets the first Sunday of every month from 1 to 4, typically upstairs in the bench room. So if you have an interest in attending a meeting, just let me know and we will make arrangements for you to be there. We are not going to meet tomorrow, which is the December meeting. Decided to give the board, do they not look exhausted?
They're going to collapse.
So we thought we'd cancel this month, but we'll be back first part of January. And if anybody would like to be a part of it or have any business with the board, just let us know and we'll certainly accommodate you.
Any other questions? Okay. If not, then thank you very much for participating in today. Please, this is about the midway point. There's a lot more you can do. Lots of prizes should motivate you to stick around and participate. But thank you also for participating in the vote. We have our board for 2026, and it's much appreciated. Thank you for being here.